full of cannabis. Each plant, though, a species might look and smell differently. This is due to their unique phenotypes. Phenotypes are the observable characteristics of, I would say, anything living. So if you have a brother and a sister, the brother might be on the basketball team because he's 6'10". The sister is on the gymnastics team because she is 5'1". Um, Same parents. Another example is, brother and sister or brother and brother. They don't even look the same, but come from the same genetics. Uh, One might be chubby, one might be really small. And that is going to be whether you see that it is growing tall when we're talking about cannabis, it's growing bushy, it's taking in less nutrients than the other 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever that are the same strain, the same seeds. That's what we're talking about. The phenotypes, the observable characteristics. So in cannabis, this includes its height, the way the branches grow, the way it smells, its potency, and even its resistance to pests and diseases. So phenotypes are a product of both genetics and environment. Think of it like making dinner. The recipe provides the genetic blueprint, while the oven temperature, the baking time, what seasonings you put in there represent the environmental factors. The same is with a cannabis plant's genes and how they determine its potential in the end. But the growing environment influences how these genes are expressed in each plant. So understanding phenotypes is crucial for both growers and if you're trying to breed. So for a grower, you can select strains with desired phenotypes already, such as high yield or specific CBD profiles. And for breeders, like us, we can manipulate phenotypes through crossbreeding to develop new and different varieties. So that's called phenohunting. And so I've already explained slightly what phenohunting is. And so essentially, as a breeder, what you would want to do is say, I want something that doesn't grow too tall because of the space that I'm using, I guess long term. But I also want it to be like a grape flavor, and I also would like it to be indica dominant. So now you're going out and you're looking at which strains that are out there have those characteristics. Which ones don't grow too tall, which ones have purple buds, which ones smell like grape, and then you try to grow those, crossbreed them, and then use those seeds, the phenotype seeds, to grow again to see what the result is, and whichever one of those, or a perfect scenario, you're gonna have all of them do exactly what you want. We all know that that's not going to happen, but you'll be creating an F1, a filial 1 at that point, to try to get those characteristics. So cannabis phenotypes is wide open. It's very diverse. You have so many different varieties now, crossing hybrids with hybrids, and then as we do, using land races as well. So there's more to come from crossbreeding and understanding the phenotypes, the characteristics that you're looking for if you're going to crossbreed two different varieties. It is very important to understand the characteristics of each strain that you're going to use. You don't want to cross strains that have conflicting characteristics, unless that's what your purpose is. Again, I want something that is medium height. I'm going to use something really tall, and I'm going to use something really short. See if I can make it in the middle. That's going to take a while, because after you do that first run and then are able to pollinate those and then plant and do the run on the phenotypes to see what you got and which ones of them were the height that you were looking for, then that's when you're going to have to own those, the ones that came out the right way, and then that's your next one. So this is not going to be some overnight process when you're pheno hunting, and you still don't know if that end result is going to be exactly what you want. Do you want something better? Do you want a different phenotype to be more pronounced? It grew big buds, but I want it to smell like grape. It kind of does, but it could smell grapier. So now you have to go back and crossbreed that with something that smells more loud on the grape side, and then continue that process. So by understanding the role of genetics and the environment, you can unlock the plant's full potential and cultivate cannabis with specific traits tailored to your needs. So we've always heard that weed is classified in basically three categories: indica, sativa, and hybrid. Indica strains are often described as relaxing and sedative. They typically have a shorter, bushier structure with a lot of broad leaves, like wide leaves. The sativas, on the other hand, are known for the effects are energetic. You can wake and bake with that with sativa. And they're usually taller growing. They're usually taller, a little slimmer, with narrow leaves. And then hybrids, of course, are going to be a cross between those two, and they can exhibit either one of those characteristics or a blend of them. So for example, one hybrid might inherit the big yield of one parent, and then the sativa effects of the other parent. So the genetics part is very complex, and there's a lot of variation within each category. The best way to determine a strain's effects and growth characteristics is really just through experience and observation. Grow some weed and watch it, look at it, document it. And that's why we're being as diligent as possible on this run. So, I understand crossbreeding is an art, it's a science, combining the genetic material of two different cannabis plants and carefully selecting parent plants with desirable traits. Man, that's a ride we want to be on. So this just involves choosing parents with specific traits and then repeatedly crossing them over multiple generations. The goal is to stabilize these traits. So we're not just going to, we're just going to cross something and see what happens. Cross something, see what happens. The goal is to stabilize the traits that we find and that we get. And that means that they will constantly appear in offspring, whether they're cloned or seeded. For example, a breeder might cross two high THC strains. I want some very high in THC. And they'll cross them over several generations to create a strain with consistently high potency. So, I mean, I'm sure we all know the process of crossbreeding cannabis can be time consuming, a little complex. It requires patience. And that's the word I want you to take away from all of this right now, is patience. Observation. You need to pay attention to what's going on, as you go along. And it's going to be a little complex because there are a lot of factors that, just aren't involved in, I'm just going to put a seed in the dirt and grow some weed. So you need to try to get an understanding of the genetics of the plants that you're going to use and the environment that you're going to have them in. But the rewards should be well worth it. To develop strains with tailored characteristics such as, increased yield or enhanced flavor or even a CBD level and terpene profile. To get there, you're going to have diversity. Genetic diversity is referring to a variety of genes within a species. So a diverse gene pool, it does make the cannabis more acceptable to changing environments, less acceptable to diseases. Layman's terms, it's more forgiving. So you can fuck up a little bit and your plant won't die. But what you need to do is to pay attention and make sure that you do have a diverse gene pool in you. Otherwise, you're just inbreeding plants. I think as humans, we've seen inbreeding doesn't really work that way. So, we'll move on. Now, we're crossbreeding indoors. So, indoor growing, we're able to control the environment for the cannabis cultivation. So this control allows us precise regulation of, let's say, the light, the temperature, the humidity, and also what food that they're eating. So this control allows us to optimize the plant growth, and our purpose is to maximize the yield. We're going to do some other things, and we have done some low stress training, so stay tuned.